Welcome back to the my screaming. Yeah.
NAS PTT, Nathan and Steven, podcast times. We're back
Yeah.
at it with episode 2. What's
It's
going
definitely
on?
not the same day.
No, yeah, this is a different day.
This is
Yeah.
different. We're just yeah.
Different day.
We have
Today we
special
have
guest
a
Cameron
special
here.
guest.
Let's go. I have the best opinions out of everyone.
Not even gonna let me introduce him. It's fine. It's Cam. Say hi to
Yep.
say yeah. Okay. Oh, my internet connection
What?
unstable. That's not good.
All
Well,
right,
what are we talking about today, Nathan?
Cam, what are we talking about? Because you chose it, yeah? Let's hear it.
Top 3 underrated and overrated MCU movies.
All right, okay. So, yeah, in general, we're just going to go top 3 overrated and underrated, just in the MCU in general. Right now, we're going to start with movies. We'll see how far we go into things because we don't want to make this too chunky runtime. All right, Cameron,
Yes.
how about your top 3 overrated movies?
Oh God.
You might not
All
even
right.
this, but we'll see.
All right. So I'm gonna start from like the least underrated, overrated, and then go to the most overrated. All right. So I think Endgame is number 3 for the most overrated. All right. So I just okay, let me give you an example. I feel like after Infinity War came out, people were thought Endgame was the most popular movie, and people don't really look back on Infinity War that much. But Endgame, I feel like in the movie, a lot of it's kind of not boring, but like not interesting because they're not doing much. They're recruiting people and stuff. But the movie is not overhyped. I just think I don't know. I just feel like it's a little overrated, and people don't look back on how good Infinity War was because and I mean, like at the beginning, Hawkeye's family stuff, and then when they're trying to get Tony Stark, I just feel like it's not interesting as people would hype it to be.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it. And then obviously the end is super good when they get all the heroes, but I feel like it just takes a long time to build up to that.
All right.
Yeah.
I 100% wholeheartedly agree with you, and I know that's gonna piss off people, but Endgame's probably my second favorite MCU movie. Still, it's Avengers.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm just saying.
I'll just keep it at that. I actually agree with them. I think that movie's overrated. I think it's really good, but people hold it to such a high standard. I don't think it meets that. And this topic for another time. I think Infinity War is still better, and I think Cameron's right. Like it does overshadow Infinity War. So what do you think, Steve, about that?
I don't agree. I can see where you're coming from with how Infinity War is better than Endgame, and I get how. I mean, they're like a lot different movies, like in terms of their goals. But I, j- I, j- I don't know. I just like Endgame like way too much
I'm in the
to.
middle because I don't think it's fair to call a movie like that overrated or overhyped.
Yeah.
Because it is the conclusion, and it's supposed to have that much hype around it. So it's unfair to call it that. At the same time, I'm not saying it gets too much love, but it gets too much love. Like it is, you got to look at. I don't know. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to wrap and like put a bow
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just say if you rewatch it and look back, I feel like it's not as good as everyone says it is because it's like the last MCU movie of the.
Yeah,
What is
so
it
it
called?
gets that extra hype.
Infinity
Yeah,
Saga. or-
Exactly.
I think Endgame definitely has its plot holes and its
because it's
like mistakes in the movie, and a lot of people glance over it because it's Endgame, and like no one's gonna critique it that much. But it's just like if in terms of calling it overrated, that's not what I would define it
I agree. Like I
as.
think it's unfair, but I see what Karen's coming from, and
Yeah, no, I definitely get how you can see how Endgame is overhyped.
So here's my before we move on to the second. Here's my like side argument. Not overrated, but I think it gets too much of a pass on things. Like people say it's perfect, and
Yeah.
the box office is the best movie of all time. Like
Yeah.
let's take a couple steps back. Like it's
No, yeah,
so good for what it's trying to be, but story like you still have to consider. I know what it is, and I know it's the conclusion, but you got to consider it story wise and character wise. Like it just doesn't.
Yeah, like since like it's like the last movie and the most hyped, and it's like after Infinity War Part 2. Like I feel like if it's just a movie in the middle of the story, like just in the middle of making movies, it wouldn't be insane like it's still super super good. It's just
yeah.
it wouldn't be as insane everyone
But
says it.
anyway, I think I have to agree with Steven that it's not technically overhyped. Just it gets.
But like, okay, the one thing that I'll give it, like, obviously it has a lot going
Yeah.
for it, but in terms of like your argument, I feel like saying that it does tackle a lot. Like a lot happens in that movie, but I feel like it paces it really well for
It-
what it for like how it's structured and just like the amount of things that happen, even though it's like 3 hours long. Like I don't think I ever felt bored
Mhm.
or it was a drag. Like even at that length, I always wanted to see what was happening next.
Yeah,
Maybe it was just like the movie experience and like the fact that it's the final movie and like something big is gonna happen, but it's just like I never really felt like it wasn't interesting.
yeah, like yeah. So yeah, final thought. Just it it is perfect for what it's trying to be. Like I don't know how else I would rewrite it. Like I have the plot holes with the story. I think that it was a little lazy at the time, but that's a different argument. Anyway, I have my issues with it, but for what it was trying to be and what it did, it was perfect. So yeah, Cameron, what is your second?
Oh, I said Civil War, second most overrated movie.
Okay, I
All right.
I agree.
I do agree with this. This is
Okay, because listen, everyone looks back at the end as okay, it's super cool. All the superheroes fight. It is super cool. But if you look at the rest of the movie, it's not really that great. Like if it had like a normal ending to the movie, like they're just chasing down and catch what's the bad guy's name? Zemo.
yeah.
Um, it's just like it's not that good of a movie. It's just the end that everyone looks back on that
Yeah,
it's not okay. They're gonna get mad. But it's kind of like Endgame, how like the beginning is not that fast paced, but it's in the end redeems it a little bit. But I
Mhm.
just think throughout the movie, it's like Captain America is getting chased, and then they're like talking for a while. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's a that interesting movie, and a ton of people think it's really really good because like oh my gosh, all the superheroes fight. You see Spider Man for the first time. It's like
Yeah.
okay, but looking back on it as a whole, it's
Yeah.
not that good of a movie.
Well, I feel like a lot of MCU suffer from their movies starting off kind of bland. Not bland, but just like kind of slow.
I gotta say.
And they definitely finish. Like when you remember movies like Civil War, Endgame, Infinity War, just like there's so many movies that just like end with a big fight scene that you're hyped about.
Yep.
It's Avengers. That's like a perfect example
Ooh,
of like you
Yeah.
only really remember the fight scene. Like you don't really remember what else happens. And it's just like I it
here, what you
Civil
got?
War definitely has the same thing. Like I do remember the plot. It's just like but when you think about it, you think of the poster, you think of everyone facing each other, the fight scene, and the fight scene actually feels a lot longer than it is. Like it's not that
Yeah, sure. It's
long.
like a 4 minute like blip. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, let's hold off on the first Avengers talk because if we get through this,
Yeah, I
that's a
know.
whole
Yeah.
episode. I really want to get into.
That's
Okay.
well, that's gonna be on my list. So
Yeah. So okay, but this is my thing. Endgame gets a pass, right? Because it's Endgame. It's closing it out with
Yeah.
like its potholes and inconsistencies, and it's not slow, but it's 3 hours. Anyway, okay. I don't think Civil War gets a pass because they didn't need to do this team up thing. I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but like if you're gonna do it, make it an actual compelling story with a compelling villain and all this other stuff. And it's like you want it to have a flowing story, and it doesn't get a pass just because all the heroes are there. It's still the middle of the MCU, and it needs to have an intriguing storyline. There's so many storylines going on and stuff, and I just don't think it gets the same like, okay, your Civil War, you get the pass like Endgame and Infinity War do. But
yeah.
that's
I feel
What
like
is
this.
it?
Yeah. Sorry, you can go.
Okay. Oh, one of the problems I also had with Civil War is it just feels so insignificant compared to the other Avengers. Not the other like just compared to Endgame and Infinity War. Like those happen like a couple years in the future, like in terms of release dates. But like it was supposed to be like it was building towards this, and it's like I can see how it's related in Infinity War. Like Cap and Tony are obviously still not talking, and like that's a point in the movie. Like they point that out, and also like um what was I gonna say? Oh, like Tony's symbolism, you need a suit around the world. Like it comes to bite everyone in the butt when Thanos shows up. Like he's right. And I don't know. It just feels like so insignificant still. Like I know those are related, but it's just like that conflict. It just doesn't feel like anything
I'll comment on that
anymore.
here. Cameron, you could go first, but I'll comment on
All
that.
right. I feel like it like I know they're trying to set up as well, adding to Steven, like they're trying to set up for like them not being a like together like in Infinity War. They have two whole different storylines, but they could have made it way more interesting. I don't know. I just the whole story, it's all over the place, like you guys said. Like it's like okay, Cap's trying to defend Bucky, and then Tony. Well, I forgot what Tony was doing. He was like doing I don't know, but they just don't
Soviet Accords.
reunite till the end of the movie, and it's kind of stupid because the storyline's not that great. It's just not that good of a movie, just like Iron Man 3. So
Okay, well that's okay.
Stop.
Okay, first I want to comment on what Cameron said. I agree that there's too many plot lines going on, and it doesn't make it a bad movie, but it definitely bogs it down with like exposition, and it doesn't make it. It's still a good movie, but I don't think it's up there with other people say. With what Steven said, the consequences. This is like the biggest fault, and this is what I've heard a lot. But like the more I think about it, the more I agree. So obviously they split up. It's for 2 years though. Like they team up, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's still a consequence. Like it's supposed to be. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
does have that, but how is it called Civil War and you have like teams of like 8 on both sides? Not one person dies. War Machine, what they should have, you don't include him falling. That was in the trailer. You don't do that. Then you actually kill him in the thing because first of all, he doesn't have much to do anyway in the MCU. He's not a bad character, but he doesn't. So a character like that is perfect because it wouldn't be like too heart shattering to the fans, but it'd be enough to be like that's Tony's best friend. And that would imagine how like
it would
emotional.
definitely increase the
Yeah.
emotional stakes.
that'd be good. I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I think.
would be to split up Tony and Cap, and then like that would be perfect. Like, why did they not do that? That's one of the major issues.
That on yeah, I haven't thought about that actually. Like actually killing
I
off
don't
War
think they
Machine,
could've
because
done.
especially in Endgame Infinity War, like you barely remember him even being there.
Yeah,
'Cause he's-
exactly.
Yeah, I think
Isn't
adding
he
on to
like
that,
still
like,
injured? Like he's still like
Still.
he no, I remember because he has like a cool suit in Endgame,
Yeah.
but it's like
Yeah.
bulky. But that's all I remember from like him actually being, and especially to Tony, that would definitely be
More high stakes.
yeah, because like even though Vision shot the thing and like I don't think Tony would blame Vision. He'd blame Cap
Yeah, for
for like not agreeing, and
It would
that would be
literally
the
be
main cause of like everything that happened. So yeah, that would definitely increase the emotional stakes and like make me like the movie a lot
more
like better. Yeah, just
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say one more thing about this, and Cameron, you could either comment on it or move on to your last movie, which I already noted. But
all right.
it's like, yeah, every time I talk about Civil War, all I could talk about is what if, or what if they did this, or what could have been. Like, it doesn't make it bad, but it's just it feels like not wasted potential, but like, why did they have these many arcs, and why did they not have something like that? Like, it's so many like
yeah.
they could have done this and they didn't. And that's a personal fault, but it still holds true.
Mm-hmm.
I
Cameron,
feel like
Take
when they're fighting at the airport, they're like, knowing they're not gonna anything bad's gonna happen to them because their main goal is to not kill. But it's like it's a cool fight, but like I don't know if it's like there's no point.
definitely fan service for sure.
yeah.
There's like no emotion. You're like you guys are right. Like it's like I don't know. They have like a reason to be mad at each other, but like they're way too mad at each other at the end. They have like, I mean, I guess he killed his parents and stuff, but still, if Rudy died, that
It
used to.
wasn't as developed because they had so many different problems that it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Iron Man 3
Yeah.
has flaws.
I swear. I'm
Are
gonna
we
kill
moving
you.
on to that?
No,
All
that,
right.
oh, that's your third.
The number
Oh.
one most overrated MCU movie, Iron Man 3. This is by a long shot. All right, so here we go. Tony loses his suit, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Finds a kid who helps him. Ooh, you're an idiot. The movie is just like.
He's still talking right here, but he cut out. We'll just.
Cameron.
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Cam, you cut out. Okay, I'll just continue. I'll just start my own topic since he's cut out.
I'm mad. A little bit.
Iron Man 3 is the perfect thing they could have done for the third movie in a not so perfect trilogy. Like, what? Like,
Iron Man 2. What?
like,
Iron Man
it's
2.
fun. And like, I don't know what else I would have wanted
Uncle
from
Iron
it.
Man 2 good.
What?
Iron Man 2 is better than Iron Man 3.
Karen, you cut out for a long time, but we didn't hear anything you said.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to repeat it?
Just summarize it.
Okay, so Tony, it's like Tony loses his suit, blah blah blah. The kid finds him. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I watched a show called The Flash, and he loses powers, and it's boring the whole time.
Yeah.
And Tony loses his suit, it's boring. And then the last scene, he just summons like a ton of suits, and it's awful.
Okay, let me comment. Let me comment.
Ooh, Mark 45.
I'm gonna keep it in a minute for now and then I'll let Steven talk, but then I might come. Okay, so when you think of people say who their favorite Avengers, they say Iron Man. Do they like Iron Man or do they like Tony Stark? Who really likes the guy in the middle suit shooting blasters? Everyone, but like Tony Stark is the guy we like. In Avengers, in Iron Man and Iron Man 2, he is the guy in the suit. I know he gets development. I'm not saying he doesn't, but like in Iron Man 3, they ripped that away from him and he is everyone's favorite hero, Tony Stark. Like why? There is no reason besides the Mandarin twist. I know that's a comic thing, but why you shouldn't want that? You literally get to spend like an hour and a half with alone with one of your favorite heroes, watching him develop, grow, and be himself. Like, how is that not something you want? And I love it. It's
I
really
think I think the character development is really cool. It's just not interesting to the fans. I think it's just
No.
I
really boring.
disagree, Steve.
I got bored so
Shut up.
far through
Stop.
it.
No, no more. No more. Okay. Back to good
Right.
opinions over here.
Yeah, let's hear good opinions time.
Okay,
Um,
how
Iron
much
Man
time
3.
do we do? All right.
Okay, I used to think not based off of like the movie, but Iron Man was my favorite just because of the nostalgia level, but that's a different topic. Okay, anyways, but like Iron Man 3 is my favorite now out of the trilogy.
Mine
Iron Man
also.
That's
3, it's just like it's refreshing. You get to see Tony use his actual intelligence and it like obviously like he's smart
And you're nothing
because he
without the
built the
suit.
suit,
Have
but it's
you
like
prove that?
you don't really
Yeah,
get to see him in like a real situation where it's like he uses his intelligence and fighting skills to like tackle problems like that you would never see him do in any other movie. And like a perfect one of my favorite scenes probably in the movie is when like he buys a bunch of stuff at the store and he
and you
makes
have to use
a
it. Yeah.
thing like things and he goes to like
yeah, but is it interesting? No.
yes, Cameron, it is interesting. That is why it's my favorite scene in the movie. Anyways, he like infiltrates like the base where they're keeping Pepper.
I don't know. I don't remember the purpose there, but anyway.
I
I
don't
think
well, okay. Well, anyway, and it's just like he takes out each guy with like a unique
Yeah,
solution. And what it reminds me a lot of, which is um like one of my favorite parts of Walt's character in Breaking Bad is like when Walt does thing like he uses his
based on himself.
intelligence to solve the problem and it really shows off like his character development into like that character but that's whole different whole different thing
One
but
thing
like
before you talk,
that's what I think of.
on top of what he said, dealing with like personal things and his intelligence, he's dealing with the PTSD from the first Avengers, and that's one of the most
Mm,
interesting things. Like, because nobody else has that. He literally flew into a wormhole, and you see a scene of that, and he's dealing with all that. So it's Tony Stark's movie, but you still get the action that you like need. People look back on it like there's not action, but there's like plenty of scenes. So Cameron, what your input? You've been saying there, so
I don't know. You keep going. I just don't like it.
I don't. I encourage anyone, especially him, but anyone listening to this, like, give it a second chance. I promise you, it's better than you remember because you may look back on the boring. You can't go into it expecting an Avengers level threat and like blasts it or pew pew pew. You need to go into it, and the villain isn't great, but you got to go into it expecting
I don't know why
character
people don't
development for
like the
Tony and
movie. I
spending
don't
time
get
with the
it.
character, especially now that
It's
he's
like a
dead.
good
Like, go back and rewatch it. It's really good.
Yeah, I
oh my god,
disagree. It's like Iron
Iron Man
Man
2 is so
1.
bad.
Iron Man
It's
1
so
is super
good.
boring. I rewatched it. So I
Oh God, man,
Kill
it's
you.
not. It's definitely not the most interesting, but it is like
I love that movie. It's so
it's good.
good. It's so
Okay, so out
good.
of 100% going to Iron Man 3 expecting like 50% goodness, but then you'll be either overwhelmed or underwhelmed, and you'll
Mhm,
probably be underwhelmed because
mhm,
it's not good.
mhm,
Anyway,
mhm, mhm.
back to our overrated list. Number
Well,
3,
okay, whatever. We'll move on.
never mind. You guys go. It's fine.
No,
Iron Man
wasn't
3
that
is
that was your three, right? Yeah.
yeah, that was my top 3.
Okay. You want me to go, Nathan?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay. Well, my list is slightly different. Yours is probably gonna be a lot like mine. But Nathan, first, of course, Avengers. I don't know why people like that movie so much. It's just
So,
so extremely boring. It's
so you got to
Civil
give
War if Civil War was bad.
you got to give it the same thing you give the first Iron Man. First Iron Man is not the most interesting thing. It's still good, obviously, but you have to respect it as the start of something. So that's why everyone loves Avengers. It was the first
I
time they
know,
came
but
out.
it's like people who argue that like that's what Iron Man is for. The nostalgia level is in Iron Man. That's why I like that movie. Even if it's not great. The villain sucks, but I love like that's the one movie where I like the beginning more than the end because the end is pretty bad. But like I like it's not his origin. I mean, I guess it's kind of his origin, but like it's kind of an origin story, but it's not like an origin story compared to other things. I like it a lot better. Like the scenes in the cave and then moving on to him making his suit. Like I just find that really interesting for his character. I don't know. It's just maybe it's just like the nostalgia, but I like that movie. Anyways, Avengers, boring. It just starts it's like nothing happens in the movie until the end. Like they recruit Bruce Banner in the beginning with Black Widow. Uh Cap shows up, Thor shows up, Iron Man's there.
Just it's all based on the idea that these fans crave seeing these people together. So
I
like,
know, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man. Like people just like it because the nostalgia. Oh, they come together for the first time. It's like you look back on it, it's not that good.
yeah, it's like the original, the start of something. And the Raimi movies aren't bad; they're definitely special, but like they don't. You got to give every movie the same treatment. Like they do not get a pass just for being the first in the original. They get something for it, but I mean, the final battle is great in the first Avengers. Everyone could agree on that. It's really
yeah,
cool, but
it's good.
Takes a long time to get there.
Yeah, I
that's one
just
of my problems
couldn't
with
watch
Endgame.
that movie,
But yeah,
and it's just so like Loki. Like I don't like Loki in that
he's not the
movie.
Loki you know now. Like
Yeah, like Loki is a good character, and they butchered him in the movie. It's just he's just bad. Like
I
there's
remember,
no character there, no personality.
like speaking of personal experience, first time we all got together, watch a Marvel movie, we're like, what should we watch? And they're like, like no one had seen Avengers in a long time. Everyone remembers it being good. Like this is the first time we'd all got
Yeah.
together, never seen Avengers.
Yeah,
I
We
watched it again. It was not
yeah, you watched
interesting.
it with us, and we were sitting there, and after like an hour, it's like is this the same movie? Like what
yeah.
is?
Like honest, I don't remember like any of it.
Went
Like
outside
when
like
I
I rewatched it and I was super bored. Well,
yes, because it's not that good. I rank it very low on my list. It's borderline decent movie where I only have a couple Marvel movies where I would not watch again. And that's Captain Marvel, Thor, both Thors, and Incredible Hulk. Those four I don't watch. And Avengers is just slightly above it. It makes the cut, but it's ooh. I don't like it that much. And just people will call it like it just doesn't have that I don't know. It's like there's the scenes obviously that are like iconic, like them standing in a circle and it goes around them with the camera. Everyone remembers that scene. It was an Endgame, but it's
I
not
just want
that
to make sure
good.
we're good. So let's do like one more. You could do another overrated one. Then I want to get to underrated. I don't. We've already talked about. Like I agree with
Yeah.
most of
Okay.
about it.
Well, I'll just my other one was
We can
Civil
talk.
War. We already talked about that, and then my last one was Black Panther. Like Black
what?
Panther? No. Okay. I think it's a good movie. I think it gets way too much love though. Like for what it is,
So
it's a really good movie. It's just not top five material. Like a lot of people will rank that movie probably after, like probably fourth on their list. I
Yep.
feel like after Endgame, Infinity War, maybe like Guardians or Spider Man, then the like Black Panther.
okay. So okay, here we go.
Okay.
I'm gonna transition that in because this is gonna be my first argument. That is an underrated movie, and here's why it's underrated. Everybody has seen 97 or on Tomatoes. Da, da, da. The whole media for years now since it's come out has agreed this movie is overrated. Like it's not that good. It's just the cultural significance of it, and everybody's agreed it's too overhyped for what it is. I agree too. It's not as high as you say, but I would almost call it an underrated movie at this point in time because everybody views it as that overrated movie. But like watching it again, like it truly does. I'm not saying it's a top five, but it does live up to a top MCU movie because it's the first.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that later, but that I just want to say like I consider that almost an underrated movie just because.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear Cam, please.
Okay, so I think it's a really good movie. Like, ignore the overrated and underrated. Like, going into the movie, you see like Black Panther and how strong he is and stuff, and then you go into Wakanda and you see how they work. And I feel like it's one storyline that everyone can follow, and everything is super interesting. And you see the life of like the Black Panther, and then you have some good fight scenes, and then towards the end, you see like him almost dying and then it becomes like good again. I don't know. I just feel like the whole movie is like one good plot that everyone can follow and it's a perfect storyline and it's super interesting. Like just going into it, not expecting anything, you would like the movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
before Steve goes, so just adding on, like, I think it follows the Marvel formula, but I think it does it very well because you're exploring a new character, a new terrain, and new ideas of Wakanda, and also the villain is one of the best we've had in the MCU still. Like, I know he's not overlooked, but like, you gotta watch it again and realize like this is a real villain. Like, you feel for him and you understand where he's coming from. I think it does the formula really well, so I think it
Yeah.
deserves. Yeah.
Okay. This is my opinion on it. I think it just had a lot of potential. I think like just the characters that were in the movie and like they were actual characters and they had personalities that clash and the whole thing made sense. It feels apart like different from the Marvel formula in the sense that the villain actually like is good. Like he's a person and you can agree with what he's saying, but you like you see where he's coming from, but you don't side with him, and like that's what a villain should be. Like Thanos, Infinity War, you see, like he's trying to do good. Obviously, he changes in Endgame, and that's supposed to be his arc. Kind of is that he actually becomes like a villain that you don't like, and Killmonger is it's really good villain. Second, probably my second favorite villain in the MCU, other than Thanos. But it's just like the movie didn't feel like it was engaging. It just didn't feel that good. And I don't know what about it. Like maybe things like some things just like didn't feel like okay, first off, I didn't like I mean, obviously you're not supposed to. The character like his best friend that betrays him, his motivations just don't make that much sense to me. And the fact like I get oh, he didn't kill Claw whatever his name was, I think. Yeah. And like oh, like he's not helping like I don't know, it just didn't click. Like Killmonger did.
Can I hear?
Character didn't.
I'm gonna section. Let me just explain my thoughts on that because I've thought about it for a while. Like he just turns. It's okay. The whole idea of Black Panther's arc is he starts from someone who follows the rules of like the Wakandans to the end where he opens up and listens to Killmonger and says like,
Yeah.
"We're gonna share our resources with everyone." They come out and do that. So I think his friend is supposed to represent that side of him who's still trying to stick to tradition. Because like we see Black Panther struggling with that. He talks to his dad in that realm or whatever, and he's like, how could you do this? Turn your back on the rest of the world, whatever. His friend or whatever is his representation of that he's the only human really who's like loyal to both the throne and actual Wakanda itself. And it's supposed to show that side of Wakanda that like not everyone's on board with this. Like
Yeah.
some people do side with Killmonger. Like
Yeah.
people believe him. So I
Mm.
believe his motivations are fine just because
Yeah.
it's supposed to show like and like not everyone agrees with like Black
I
Panther.
feel
But
like Black Panther did a really good job with the understanding and emotional part of the movie.
Like
mm.
what?
Like, I thought it was really good. I don't know.
All right. What
But
do you think?
okay, going back
Okay,
to what
yeah.
you said, Nathan, his character, like, yeah, he does like represent the need to stay to Wakandan and no one else. But then why would he side with Killmonger, who's the exact opposite of that? He wants
Because
to.
Killmonger's almost yeah. I see what you're saying. I see what
It's
you're saying.
just I don't know his character. It just felt really sudden. Like yeah, the thing that I can relate it to is in Doctor Strange, the one dude who's supposed to be like the next villain, who's like the ancient one's most
Yeah,
trusted thing. He just
Mordo.
becomes bad, and it's I didn't really like that part of the
That
movie,
was
and it feels similar. And it's just like the movie is filled with like a lot of stuff that I don't really care about that much.
okay.
I don't know. It's like the basic plot of the movie sounds really interesting. Like I would love to see them execute it a little better. It just felt like it should have been better. That's all I have to say. Like it's yeah.
I just disagree with you completely. I just thought it was a well written, emotional movie.
I just besides the final battle scene, second favorite villain, really compelling hero has a great arc, and like I feel like the side characters like him, like maybe it doesn't make complete sense, but Okoye is another representation. She's loyal to the throne, but she also helps T'Challa because it
Mhm.
shows where her loyalties also lie.
Yeah.
I think it just shows all sides of things perfectly, and even that outsider coming in, whatever, like Everett Ross, I don't know. It's just I thought it was a really good way to explore that world, and it was the first time we did something like that. And like cultural like things aside, like first black lead or whatever, but like it's I thought it was really well written. The only thing I would change is the final battle, but I don't know like
Yeah.
how else I would execute it rather than like
Yeah.
just
Yeah, the final battle is definitely one of the
Yeah,
things I
yeah, like you said at the end, they're like split. Like people believe in Killmonger and people don't, and it's like a battle because I don't know. I just thought it was a really good movie.
yeah.
and that's why I understand why it gets so high critic scores. I don't agree with it, but it's like it's a philosophical battle rather than like a civil war.
Mhm.
Let's punch each other. 'Cause
No,
we
yeah. I get that's the part of the movie I like. It's just like
and I know you're not calling it bad, so it's a hard argument. You're just calling it
yeah.
overrated. That's,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah.
I feel, I feel
Like
like since
it's
it's
in my
such,
top 10. It's
yeah, for
number
sure.
10, I'm
Same
pretty
with me.
sure.
I probably have a similar ranking as you. I just believe that
yeah.
it's worth it. But
I
Yeah.
feel like people look at the ratings, they're like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be insane," and then they think it's a little bad and they see the flaws. I
yeah,
feel like if you just go into it clean, it's a good
that's why
movie.
I consider it
No,
underrated.
I think it's a good movie, but that's my point. Is
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
look at
That
the
is too.
rating, it's
I could say
overrated.
I see both sides. I just
Yeah. Okay.
what was I gonna
Yeah,
say?
it's
I had
just
one for
yeah.
underrated.
For
Iron Man 3
underrated.
was one. That was one, but like it quote
Yeah,
unquote.
Iron Man 3 is yeah underrated for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Another
it's
one.
overrated.
You know what I don't like? I'm gonna go back to overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like Captain America: First Avenger
Mm-hmm.
What?
for a number of reasons. It's just we talk about pacing and
Yeah.
like literally what we just talked about. Obviously, there's a lot of base level villains in the MCU, but he's literally just a comic book villain. Like I'm evil, I want to hurt everyone. And then at the
Yeah.
same time, the pacing in that movie blows. I'm so sorry, but like if I offend you, but watching that movie, we talked about Avengers. It has the same vibe to it, or it's just nothing of interest is happening. Like I just don't care. I don't love Wonder Woman, but the war scenes in that are so much better than the first Captain America. I don't know. I just wasn't compelled at all, actually, in the fights and him. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Um,
can. Hmm,
I do like the Like it's not very high on my list.
same.
It's but I like it. Like I just
I
it's this. I think it's the nostalgia really. Um, but I don't know. Like it's not a good movie. I will give it. It's not very
It,
good. But
it's hard
I
to
don't
say
know.
over.
It's just like
Not many
I would
people.
watch it again. Just
It's
I
just I
don't.
want to draw attention to that it's not as good as
Yeah.
people think.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
Cameron, what
Yeah.
were you gonna
Yeah.
say?
okay, so I feel like just like Black Panther brings that kind of 90 or wherever it's from vibe, like the back then vibe. And I feel like the storyline shows how he's like you guys said in Iron Man 3, it shows how the development of the character, like he's like a weak person but a strong heart, and he finally like it shows how he's not a very good soldier, but then something happens to him and he kind of shows how good he is, and then they see the villain and then it's about the knot. I just think it's a really good storyline. I get bored sometimes, obviously. It's not in the same movie compared to other MCU movies, but I just think it's a pretty good movie for what it is. But I can agree with you in some parts. It's kind of boring and the storyline's a little.
Well, it just feels so basic. Like Captain
It's just
America, he's supposed to be the ultimate good in the MCU. Like he's worthy of the hammer just based off of his intentions. And
that's
then Red
fantastic.
Skull, he's just the
Evil.
like I guess the ultimate like not ultimate bad, but he's just supposed to be bad. And it's just like it's such a basic formula to follow where you have a character and they both have the same powers. That's one of the
Yeah,
Yeah,
flaws of the beginning
that,
of
I
the
agree with that.
MCU. Everyone has the same power. It's just one's good, one's bad, and it's
it's
not very
not
exciting.
their fault because they're not trying to take risks. Or like now you see Eternals and all this stuff being
Yeah.
announced. But earlier we're trying to stick to a base, so I give it that. That's fine. It's just oof.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel. We talk about movies like you don't need to go back and watch or like Incredible Hulk. I'm not saying it's that level at all, but I could summarize like in 2 sentences what you need to know going into the first Avengers. Like he liked Peggy, he lost her because he crashed a plane.
Hmm.
Red Skull, he'll come back later in Infinity War. He was his enemy.
You don't even need to know who Red
That's
Skull
I mean
was.
that's like I don't know what else you need to know from that movie.
No, you don't need to watch it
So
that much. I
I
just
don't know.
like
It's not
watching.
overrated. I just don't think it's good at all. Actually,
I feel like if you
Yeah.
first watch the Captain America series, that's a pretty good movie to start the series with. But rewatching it, it's kind of boring because like it's supposed to show the origin, but watching the origin, I don't know.
I know.
I like it's like Iron Man 1.
Yeah. Except I don't think the tonal. So okay, this is a whole different conversation. But the Apes trilogy, the tonal shift makes so much sense to me. Like at first it bothered me. I was like, how are they going to go from this to this? But it makes so much sense to me. In this one, like in this Captain America trilogy, I know it's the '90s and stuff, but when you watch Winter Soldier and Civil War and you look back at the first one, it's like, is that
Yeah,
part of the same like
Mhm.
thing at all?
agreed. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. It. I don't know. It's the
And
Iron
it's
Man movie. It just felt. I think the main reason I like it is just because Tony's character is so interesting.
Mhm.
Arrogance in the beginning of the movies, and just like he's funny. Like he's naturally a funny character, and that just makes the movies a lot more watchable. Captain America, he's
I don't
not
know if that
not
has a
fun. Like he's just like he's not meant to be that funny. Like he has his moments,
yeah.
but it's just like you don't. That's not the reason you're watching the movies for.
But another thing, yeah, does he have an art? Like normally, a thing that's intriguing is a start and a finish. You want to watch them change it. He's already good, starting from the beginning of the movie. You know that.
Yeah, but I
And
think
make
he's one
sacrifice.
of those characters where it's like, what are you talking about for the movie or just his overall arc?
The movie, the first one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he doesn't have much of an arc. It's more of him learning his powers more than his character developing. But Captain America is one of those like people. Like, there's always one of them in the show where they don't need much development because they are the character that they're supposed to be, and they're more of a guiding character. And like then ones I can name off of the top of my head are Iroh, Katara. Um, they're like I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know why I thought of Avatar, but like those are characters that don't change because they're more mentors and like growing. They're not growing that much. Yeah.
Anything?
What?
Cameron, do you have anything or no?
No.
No. Okay.
Sorry, my internet connection kind of cut out a little bit.
That's not good. I don't. I mean, for the most part, though, like I don't hate any of these movies. I just there's a
Yeah,
fair
they're all good.
selection of them.
Well, except Iron Man 3.
That is rated where it should be. And that we already talked about this in my test run with Steven. Why make a Captain Marvel 2? I just want to close it out because I don't think that deserves a whole podcast episode. And I think we're talking about overrated, underrated stuff and all the drama surrounding like rating things. So I wanna talk about why make Captain Marvel 2. First we'll start with Captain Marvel 1. Cameron, you've seen that movie twice or 3 times. I want to hear your thoughts first.
Okay. Wow.
You cut out. Cameron, you cut out. Even you could talk more. I can hear him talking.
Ooh, Captain Marvel. What to say about that movie? Oof. It's just bad. Like nothing in the, not even the character. It's just a bad plot and lesson. Like we've talked about this so many times. There's no lesson in the movie. She doesn't learn anything, and it's so upsetting that the whole thing is written off as a joke. Like what? What is that?
And then Cameron, we didn't hear anything. So are you back?
No, yeah, I stopped talking because I knew I was cutting
Okay.
out.
And Steven, piggyback off what you say. Captain America 1 gets an excuse. Story's kind of weak, but it's a character everyone loves, and we understand his like he's pure good, pretty much. He embodies that. And this nobody likes Captain Marvel. I've met one person who likes Captain Marvel, and it's
Oh God.
yeah. Anyway, Cameron, you go, and I'll tell you if you cut out.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say bringing a very overpowered character in one movie, destroying everything is
2019,
absolutely
right
garbage.
before Endgame.
Yeah.
It's oh my God, you can't like you see character development, Iron Man, Captain America, you see how they become stronger, better, more likable characters. Captain Marvel, oh, you take off a chip off your neck and now you're just the most powerful person ever. I don't know. I just in the movie, it's like the only thing good about it is like the twist where the aliens are good, and they never even describe why they're bad. I know like they do that for the twist. I don't know. I just don't think it's a great movie. It's not that interesting as well.
Never
And
has, like yeah, you're talking about introducing a character so hard. Never has a character been more forced into the MCU. And I'm not trying to get political and just because they're trying to make the first female led whatever and being powerful, that's fine. I get it. But okay, one, you already have Black Widow. That's another discussion. So you can make hers, but okay. It's just like why? Like there's no reason just because she doesn't have much to do in Endgame. They silent her as they should probably, but like they silent her anyway. Her movie's pretty disposable except for the scroll twist, and she's not a character people like. So like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. I I agree with Cameron's point completely. She's just like she's written as like it feels like she's written in as a quick fix.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
it's
she
just
Yeah.
like, oh, there is this overpowered character that we never told you about, and she happened to be called at the biggest event that the MCU has ever faced. Like whatever, Nick Fury only decided to call her now because he felt like it was
and then they
necessary.
say it took
He
place in
never
the
felt like it in the
it
point.
also
oh, it's been here the whole time.
it also makes me pissed that Guardians of the Galaxy #1. It's like Ronan is a super powerful and strong character, and everyone fears him. And then what?
Stands there in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and then Captain Marvel goes there and he's scared. Like what? It's like they build up this scary character, and then Captain Marvel, he's not scary. He's just like, I don't know. It's just he's not a. I don't know. It just makes him seem
Okay,
weak.
well, just to slightly disagree. To be fair, Ronan did have the Power Stone in Guardians, and he was able to wield that. But yeah, he's just there as like, oh, he's from a movie like that. That's
Yeah.
all it feels
You're like,
like.
oh
And
look,
it's
he's
like
in number one.
they tease something, and I don't even think it's related. Like I don't think they're doing anything more with Ronan.
So the only thing is in Guardians, he hates the Kree, right? He's pretty much a racist, and he wants to wipe them all out. That's why he gets the Power Stone. So Captain Marvel's a Kree, right? Their whole planet. So they showed him there, like, oh look, here's
Scroll.
this.
Wait, no, bad, opposite. He is a
Also-
Kree.
Really?
Also,
Oh, and he's trying
Ronan's
to
a
wipe out the
Kree.
other. Okay, got it.
The
also-
scrolls bad. They think, yeah.
Got it.
Captain Marvel is a Kree, but then she realizes the Kree are bad. Yeah,
Interesting.
he's trying to wipe out the I don't remember what the planet's called, but it's like the main fight scene in Guardians.
Yeah, right
Cam,
there.
Cam. Okay.
Still talking. Anyway, but We'll just segue that into like, whew, what do you want from this sequel? Since they're making it, it made over $1 billion, so like I get that, but oh, you back?
Um,
What were you
yeah,
saying?
sorry. I asked a lot of my friends to name what her superpower is. Like, you don't have to have a superpower, but what is her
No,
power?
that's not
Captain
what
America,
you're
he's
saying.
a super soldier. Iron Man has suits. Like, he has a suit, and he uses that to fight. He flies in through
She
space.
shoots laser beams.
What?
He shoots
She
laser.
does. It's all she
Oh,
does.
okay.
I was just asking Steven because we've just ripped on this movie enough, and it deserves to be. But what do you want from a second Captain Marvel movie? Since they've already announced that we know it's coming. I don't know when it takes place really, but like, what do you
What's gonna
want
be
from it?
about? I don't
I
really
want
know.
Brie
And also,
Larson
the vibe
gone.
of the first movie doesn't remind me of old.
Right?
Or
Captain Marvel out of her own movie. I'll be happy.
Yep.
Yeah. No, but just assuming it's already happening and you know it's happening, it's inevitable. What do you want from this movie that will redeem yourself? Like, does she have a team up
I
in it? Like,
want
do you
her to
want to
have a character,
Yeah, a character
preferably.
that's likable from other movies.
movies? And it's like, oh my god, like,
I would like her to face some real conflict where she learns something. Like,
uh,
what is the move? I don't
In
understand.
character development,
Oh,
I mean, so the best example, my mom, she doesn't watch the MCU. She doesn't hate it. She just doesn't watch it. So we were watching Captain Marvel. We are all watching it, and then she took out the thing and started flying. And I look at my mom. She's like, and then I asked her after the movie. I was like, "What'd you think?" She's like, "I mean, I was on board the entire time." And then she started. She took out her earpiece. Then she started flying around space and flying through spaceships. And they lost me completely. That was the best summary from like a non MCU fan or an MCU fan that I heard. It's like they said it like, why not do that at the beginning? Like, what are you setting up? So like this next movie, you say I don't know what you need, honestly. Like she should have had development in the first one.
she
yeah, I don't know if you can redeem yourself so much.
her whole arc, even if there was, if you consider it an arc in Captain Marvel, was literally the opposite of what you're supposed to do in any movie like that.
You're supposed to
Like,
learn yourself as
she
a human,
starts
even if
off nerfed and then she learns nothing and then she just gets OP. Like, what is that? That's not a lesson. It's just her
so,
getting what she wants. Like,
And
it's
she
such a
becomes more dislikable.
it's such like a privileged moment. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, it's so dumb. And I think the only way, even though it's been done before and it's been done bad, is you take away her powers or something like that, where she actually learns something and she learns how to be her, like, be a person without being completely OP. I don't know. Or like
I
maybe
think a
she
great
faces
arc.
someone where she like actually is challenged and she learns a lesson. Like, she has to be challenged in some way.
I don't know if it's too similar to Black Panther, but I think a great arc. It doesn't even need to be a character moment as much as like this sounds really similar to Black Panther, I know, but she realizes like her people are bad, and she teams up with the Skrulls, and that's the main conflict. Like you don't need to include the Supreme Intelligence or whatever, and you don't even need to have a personal character arc because not all movies do. Like Black Panther, he was just realizing that he was on the wrong side, and that would be kind of Captain Marvel's. I know it's a copy, but it's far better than what they did. So I don't know.
And also doesn't bring that old vibe like they're trying to make in the past. They
Yeah,
just
they were
make the
good.
characters look young. Like that's the only.
Did not need to take place then. They just did it to draw another
Oh,
audience.
Yeah, just do it.
God. Oh my gosh.
Everything is forced. The
Such a
time,
bad
the
movie.
villain, the hero, the everything. The movie is just so, and it received terrible like reception. Besides the box office numbers,
No
that's just
one
because it's
liked it.
MCU. Like,
So
yeah, and you know what's
like,
funny? I remember the Rotten Tomatoes consensus was like, it sticks to the Marvel formula, but it does it well. What Marvel formula are we watching? That is not the formula.
it's
they
so
they went off the rails and it sucked.
drastically different from the formula, and it's like
Not in a
bad.
good way.
Like, it doesn't do it in a good way. Like, there's movies that don't follow it and it's like, oh, they did that well.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know. It's just so inconsequential of a movie. Like, you didn't need it. It doesn't change the fact that she just arrives in
Yeah.
Endgame. Like, you could have
Done a movie later.
maybe given her a little more screen time on Endgame if you really wanted to, and like actually so people knew her. They didn't need a movie to know that she just gets her powers.
You know how like you dislike a character, like, and you kind of start liking her more. I feel like in Endgame, they made her more dislikable. It's
Yeah,
like,
somehow.
where are you going to fight Thanos? It's like, okay, well, you're an idiot.
Must be a cool moment. She
She's
sounds so
supposed to
stupid.
be arrogant, but it's not funny arrogance.
I
It's
know it's
Yeah,
not.
it's not
bad.
it's dark. It's just like annoying.
That's where we get to acting, and that's I don't
I
want to
don't
go
want
there.
to pick on Brie Larson because she's obviously one, but she does not embody just a Marvel. Like Chris Hemsworth, born for Thor. Robert Downey Jr., like Tom Holland, Chris Evans. I could go on and on.
Yeah, they
And
are
it's just
their definitive
they are,
characters.
and then Brie Larson's just like, well, I mean, okay.
You could
And I
use a
can't blame her.
different.
Her script is weak. I'll give her that. But honestly,
It's
when we
really
talk
bad.
about what would be better for a sequel, no sequel. The Secret Invasion movie or the show, whatever, with Nick Fury and the Skrulls. That's what they set up. That sounds so interesting. Are you kidding
You
me? Like
could have
that's
her go. You could just have her leave. She doesn't need to be here anymore.
I don't. I think if she vanishes randomly, I feel like I would be happy and no one would care.
No, but it's like that's her whole thing too. Is like she just
it just shows up.
sometimes is busy, I guess. Like okay, her whole thing of like, oh, other people. Okay, hi, Cameron. Her whole thing of uh other people had to deal with Thanos. Like, okay, I get that, right? What is she doing to help them though? Like,
There's
what?
other people that help, not just you.
But
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
not
there's
fighting
other
Thanos.
planets.
Yeah, Thanos. They just made her hateable in every single way. Like if the
I
plot
know.
wasn't bad,
Yeah.
She's like, there's
God,
other
I
planets. Oh my god.
struggle to
I
find a
hate her.
plot.
I
besides
like
Nick
this
Fury.
one. I hate that line because it's not true.
Why would more like this? Come on.
She's like, there's a lot of planets in the whatever multiverse. I've watched too much
What
time
she's
travel.
doing,
My
like,
brain hurts.
what? I- What is she doing for those people?
Nothing.
She's shooting lasers at things. Is that helping them?
She
Like,
literally
she's
needs
flying
a
through some
claw.
more ships.
My favorite
Oh
thing
my
is how they're
gosh.
trying to be like, oh, this movie exists and it's canon in the MCU. So they're taking that like one girl, the young girl, and they're making her an adult in WandaVision. Did you see that?
Wait, what?
Like the
What
young black
girl?
girl or whatever. You know how Captain Marvel has her friend,
Oh, yeah, I didn't
like
like her.
Monica Rambeau, or maybe
She's
it's the
really so powerful. Like they're like, oh, Nick Fury's like, or she's like, give me a call when you need me. It's like, well, we always need you. If you're so overpowered, you could defeat every villain in a matter of seconds.
the aliens are flying through the hole in the sky, or when Ultron took like, well, you know. Then she's like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a lot of
No,
other planets.
the only thing I understand that she hasn't been there because I get okay, I get the other planets thing when it's not Thanos. Like they're probably facing stuff too, but I don't get like it's not like a new villain appeared in those other planets because half the population was killed.
Yeah, Thanos is still the threat, and that's what she.
What do you guys think the plot of Captain Marvel 2 is going to be? Like, any idea?
You
I
know,
hope it's a good character. If
what's
they focus
like, what's
more
the
on
plot?
her developing her character, I don't even care if it's like,
A new haircut?
yeah, please. Why did she
What do you
like
think?
things that Marvel does for like I don't I don't want to sound sexist.
It just that's why it feels forced. It's so out of place for the Marvel universe. It's
Like
so
they wanted to make a strong female. They already have like Black
Black
Widow.
Widow,
They've so many people have wanted her to get like she's getting her own movie, but so many people wanted her to get a bigger role in the MCU, and she did. I mean, she did in Endgame Infinity War. Like she became an actual like character.
Black Widow's dead.
Yep. Okay, but
That's a discussion for another time. It's not Loki.
okay.
They
Yeah,
didn't
but
have
no
a
more.
funeral for Black Widow's death. They just didn't. Because she's
What?
dead.
They didn't have a
What?
funeral for Black Widow's death.
Yeah, they didn't do anything to honor
Yeah,
her.
they
I'm
did.
serious. They didn't even talk about her except
I
when
mean,
she
they
died.
did. They didn't talk. They talked about her, but like, it
I
was
feel like
just
the Black Widow movie is gonna be good because everything else, like the plot, the
it
villain,
has to be good.
the side characters. I think it's gonna be a good movie because of that.
Okay. We should probably end it soon, right? Like for
I'm
now.
really mad now about Captain Marvel. Like my muscles are tight. Like it kind of makes me
So
furious
bad.
actually.
So bad.
Mm.
Cameron, hi back. Hi.
All right, well, I feel like this segment was more interesting than the first one because there was a lot more anger and I don't know, I felt like we kept it civil when we were
Yeah,
mad at
hoodie
each other.
pants.
But
Look at him. Hoodie.
I don't know. I just hate.
thanks for
Captain Marvel.
checking in. Hopefully, we have our best pal Joey and our other best pal Danny, and the two best pals Danny and Joey hop on so we can start yelling at them.
Yelling
Danny has awful
times.
opinions. He likes Force Awakens die. Da, 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 da,
Oh,
da.
crying, laughing emoji. Cameron,
Danny makes me wanna puke. Yeah.
Cameron, would you like to plug anything at the end of our podcast?
Klexer.
Just Klexler. Okay, go subscribe
Fortnite,
to
Fortnite
Klexler,
channel. Klexer.
everyone.
Klexer's my Fortnite YouTube channel and my Klexer03 on TikTok and Klexer Fortnite
Wow,
videos. I
really
keep
close to
posting.
the mic. Okay. Back up a little bit, just a little bit. There you go. Okay, there. Okay, hi.
Mobile got banned, so I can't do it anymore because
Alright,
it's
anyway.
tagging creators.
Just no more talking. Your plug is over.
more often because I think it's more fun, even though it's harder to get everyone a chance to talk.
Okay,
But
I
I
don't
think it's
know
more
what's going
interesting.
on over there.
If you want this kid back,
Next time we'll have a
Dropping the
camera,
low.
maybe. I might have a camera next time. Cameras are good to have.
We're professional YouTubers now.
I like having good Wi-Fi.
Okay, we need to
Yeah.
end it now. So everyone say bye, bye, bye. Yell on
Yeah.
the mic. Yell on the mic. Oh, yell on the mic.
Oh.
Bye, bye. Subscribe to Nathan and Steven podcast times and tune in for our next episode where we will
Iron Man 3
talk about
sucks.
our friends some more.
nope,
Bye.
nope.
No.
Iron Man 3 is the